It was the silence that bothered me first. Not the kind that follows an argument or settles into a room when two people have nothing left to say. This was the kind of silence that slips in unnoticed, camouflaged in routines. It had crept into our apartment slowly, between shared breakfasts that became, "I'll grab something later," and the bedtime conversations that turned into wordless scrolling on opposite sides of the bed. That Friday, she kissed my cheek like everything was fine. Said she was meeting her cousins for dinner and maybe drinks after. I nodded, like I always did, and told her to have fun. But something didn't sit right. She didn't tell me which cousin. No group text pinged on her phone like usual. No sudden burst of laughter when she was getting dressed. Just calm. Too calm. She wore the perfume she hadn't touched in months. The one she said gave her a headache, but I remembered was her favorite when we first started dating. She even asked how she looked before she left. "Beautiful," I said, and I meant it, even as my gut twisted. Still, I didn't say anything. I didn't want to be that husband, paranoid, insecure, suspicious for no reason. I told myself to stop reading into things. But the longer she was gone, the louder my thoughts got. So I opened Instagram. I wasn't looking for anything. Maybe just proof I was being ridiculous. A cousin tagging her in a photo. A selfie at the restaurant. Something harmless to calm the storm in my chest. But then came the story. Her cousin Melanie, the loud, bubbly one who overshares everything, had posted a clip from their night out. For girls at a rooftop bar, all smiles, drinks in hand, swaying to the music under fairy lights. The caption said, "Girls' night with my soul sister's two hearts." But my wife wasn't in it. I watched it again, slower this time, pausing on every frame. No angle showed her, not even the edge of her dress. Just Melanie, two of her friends, and her younger sister. All of them were there, except my wife. I stared at the screen, thumb hovering. Then I did something I hadn't done before. Something small, petty maybe, but it felt honest. I replied to the story with one word. Interesting. And that was all it took. She saw it almost immediately, the scene, checkmark flashing beside my message like a siren. And then, just minutes later, I tried to refresh the page. Blocked. She blocked me. My wife. Not her cousin. Not one of her friends. Her. There was no mistaking it. Her profile vanished. Stories disappeared. Our DMs gone. Like I didn't exist. I sat on the couch for a long time, the TV still playing some show I wasn't watching. That one word, interesting, echoed louder than any accusation could have. I hadn't asked where she really was. I hadn't accused her of lying. I just pointed out what she already knew. And her response? Cut me out. That's when the panic kicked in. That cold realization that this wasn't just a misunderstanding. This wasn't overthinking or jealousy. People don't erase someone unless they've got something to hide. I checked the time. She'd only been out for 3 hours. I texted her. "Can we talk when you get home?" No response. I called. Straight to voicemail. I tried again. Same. My heart pounded so hard it felt like a drum in my throat. I got up, started pacing, then sat back down. There's a particular kind of helplessness that hits you when the person you trust most starts moving like a stranger. Like they're slipping through your fingers, and you have no idea how to hold on. She came home at 1:17 a.m. I heard the key in the door, the soft click as she tried not to wake me. I stayed still on the couch, pretending to be asleep, watching her out of the corner of my eye as she tiptoed in, phone clutched in her hand. She didn't look at me, didn't check if I was okay. She just walked straight to the bedroom and closed the door. No explanation, no greeting, just silence. The next morning, she acted like nothing had happened. Made coffee, scrolled her phone, said, "Want pancakes," like it was a Sunday in 2018 and not the morning after she'd erased me from her digital world. I asked her about the cousins. She said it was just dinner. That Melanie probably didn't post everything. That the signal at the bar was bad. I asked why she blocked me. She looked confused. Said she didn't. That maybe it was a glitch. I stared at her. She stared back. And for a moment, the truth flickered in her eyes. Just long enough for me to see it before she blinked it away. I didn't push. I didn't argue. Instead, I started watching. I started remembering. How she used to laugh at my jokes, but now stared blankly. How her phone, once left face up on the table, was always screen down. How she started sleeping in full pajama sets in July. How she jumped when I entered the room too quietly. These weren't just habits. They were shields. She was hiding something. And my one word, interesting, had struck a nerve I didn't even know existed. But I wasn't angry. Not yet. I was something worse. I was curious. Curiosity, it turns out, is a slow poison. Not loud like rage. Not wild like heartbreak. Just quiet, methodical. It settles into your ribs and whispers, keep looking. And once it starts, there's no stopping it. So that's what I did. I started looking. Not with anger. Not even suspicion, really. Just a slow, methodical peeling back of what I thought I knew. My wife, Lena, had always been meticulous with her privacy, but lately it had morphed into something sharper. Secretive. The day after the Instagram incident, I created a burner account. Not because I wanted to spy, but because I couldn't stop thinking about what I hadn't seen. The story, the absence, the way she disappeared, digitally and emotionally, with the flick of a finger. I followed Melanie's account first, then the other girls who'd been in the video. I didn't have to dig far. One of the friends, Jess, I think, posted a photo that same night, about an hour after the story. For drinks on a table, a plate of fries, a red purse I recognized immediately. Lena's. She'd bought it on our anniversary. Insisted she'd been dreaming about it for months. But still, no Lena in the picture. Then I noticed the tag location, Brooklyn Heights Social Club. Lena told me they were going to a little Mediterranean place on the Lower East Side. I even remember the name. She made a point to say it twice. This wasn't just a missed angle or a skipped photo. This was a different borough, a different plan, a different night. That's when the ache settled in my chest. Not like a stab, not yet. Just this slow, expanding pressure, like someone had placed a hand on my heart and started to lean in. I didn't confront her. Instead, I went quiet. I watched her move through our apartment like nothing was wrong, folding laundry, humming to herself, asking if I wanted Thai or sushi for dinner. Her eyes met mine and didn't flinch. That scared me more than anything. She was good at this. Too good. That weekend, she said she had to help her cousin move. Melanie again. Same cousin. I nodded, offered to help. She declined. Said it was just a girl's thing. I smiled. And waited. Hours later, Melanie posted another story. Her, laughing on her couch with two friends. Packing boxes in the background. Lena wasn't there. But she had posted a photo herself. On her own account. A cup of coffee, a blurry corner of a cardboard box, and a caption, moving day chaos grinning face with sweat. It was posted just minutes after Melanie's story. I stared at it for a long time. It was an old trick. One I knew well. I used to do the same thing in college. Posting an old photo to make it seem like I was somewhere I wasn't. Buy yourself some time. Create a version of the night that nobody questions. Except I was questioning everything now. I checked her location through our shared iCloud. It was turned off. It had never been turned off before. The next morning, I asked her how the move went. She said it was exhausting, that Melanie had way more stuff than she thought. She even pulled a muscle in her back. Gave me this little wince as she stretched. I nodded, then asked, which part of Brooklyn does Melanie live in again? She blinked. Too slow. Williamsburg, she said finally. But the night before, Melanie's story had been tagged in Forest Hills. A different borough. Again. I didn't react. Just said, we should visit her sometime. Haven't seen her in a while. She smiled, but it didn't reach her eyes. The lies were getting sloppier. Not because she was careless, but because she believed I was still blind. Still devoted. Still the man who used to bring her coffee in the shower and kiss her hand before work. I wasn't that man anymore. I started digging deeper. Phone records. Credit card transactions. Subtle things. I wasn't trying to catch her. Not really. I was trying to confirm something I already knew in my gut. I wasn't chasing proof. I was chasing closure. That's when I saw it. A charge from a hotel in Midtown. Thursday night. The night she said she was having dinner with her cousins. $214. 37. She told me they split a bottle of wine and caught a late movie. But this charge was from a boutique hotel with dim lighting and 5-star sheets. A place we'd once stayed for our anniversary when I surprised her with a night in the city. She said it was the best sleep of her life. Now she'd slept there again. Just not with me. The weight of it finally hit me. All at once. I sat down on the edge of our bed, clutching the printed receipt in my hand. My fingers went numb. Not from the shock, but from the quiet realization that the woman I loved was no longer the woman coming home to me. She was a stranger playing a part, and I had front row seats. That night, I waited for her to fall asleep. Then I unlocked her phone. I knew the password. She hadn't changed it. Or maybe she thought I'd never use it. Either way, I scrolled through her photos first. Nothing. Just selfies, food pics, screenshots of outfits. Then I opened her recently deleted album. There they were. 8 photos. All time-stamped from that same Thursday night. 2 wine glasses. A man's hand across a table. A blurry picture of her in the hotel mirror, lipstick fresh, smile wide. My wife. In someone else's story. And just like that, everything I thought I had with her began to dissolve. But I didn't rage. I didn't throw the phone, or wake her up, or demand answers. I just sat there, holding the silence in my hands. Because sometimes, betrayal doesn't scream. It whispers. And I was finally listening. The next morning felt like any other. That was the strangest part. Sunlight streamed through the curtains the way it always did. The coffee pot gurgled to life with the same sleepy rhythm. And Lena, she hummed while buttering toast. Like nothing was broken. Like she hadn't unknowingly placed a countdown clock on our marriage. I sat across from her, watching the way she avoided my eyes. She never used to. I think she knew. Not the details, not exactly. But she felt something had shifted. I hadn't spoken a word since I found the photos. And maybe she was waiting for me to snap, to accuse her, to throw something, demand names, answers, apologies. But I didn't. I wasn't interested in theatrics. I was interested in the truth. After breakfast, I stood by the window, holding her phone. I'd transferred the deleted photos to my own device. I had everything I needed. Lena, I said, without turning around. Can we talk? She paused. A beat too long. Then, of course. I turned. Her face was careful, like someone tiptoeing across a frozen lake. She sat down slowly, crossing her legs, fingers tapping her knee. I want to ask you something, I said. Just one thing. And I'd like the truth. Not your version. The truth. She nodded once. Okay. I took a breath. My voice stayed steady. Where were you Thursday night? There it was again, that half-second delay. Her body language shifted, eyes narrowing just slightly. She was calculating. Choosing. I told you, she said. With my cousins. We had dinner in the city. I nodded. Right. At the Mediterranean place on the Lower East Side. Yes. Funny, I said. Because Melanie tagged a rooftop in Brooklyn. And her story didn't include you. And the charge on your card says you were at the Fairfax Hotel in Midtown. She froze. Just for a moment. Then gave a shaky laugh. You went through my statements? I did. Wow. That's a lot of trust, huh? I tilted my head. Is that what we're talking about now? Trust? Her eyes glossed over for a second. Not quite tears, not quite guilt. Just the sudden recognition that the game was over. The walls were crumbling, and I was still standing on the other side, watching every brick fall. She didn't speak. So I did. I saw the photos, Lena. Silence. The ones you deleted. The wine glasses. The mirror selfie. The man's hand. She looked away, pressed her lips together. I could see her pulse in her neck. Fast, uneven. I waited. Then she whispered it. I didn't mean for it to happen. There it was. The beginning of her version of the truth. It was just once, she said quickly. It wasn't serious. I didn't even plan it. I kept my expression neutral. My heart felt like it was behind glass, watching its own slow shatter. How long? She hesitated. 2 months, she said finally. But it wasn't constant. I wasn't with him all the time. His. So there was a name. A person. Flesh. Not a mistake. Not a moment of weakness. A choice, repeated. I sat down. Why? She blinked. What? Why him? Why cheat? Why lie? Why not just talk to me? She shook her head. I don't know. I swear I don't. I felt invisible. Like we were drifting. Like I was screaming and you couldn't hear me. That cut deeper than I expected. Because part of me knew she was right. I had stopped noticing. Stopped asking. I thought consistency was love. That showing up, paying the bills, making her coffee meant I was doing enough. Maybe it wasn't. But that didn't justify this. You could have told me, I said. You could have said something. We could have fought. We could have tried. Her voice cracked. I didn't want to hurt you. I let out a hollow laugh. Then why did you block me when I asked where you were? She looked down. Because I panicked. Because I knew you'd figured it out. And I didn't know what else to do. So you chose silence. I didn't want to watch you look at me like this, she whispered. I stood up. The room felt smaller now, like it couldn't hold both our truths. I'm leaving, I said. Her eyes snapped up. What? I'm not yelling. I'm not going to post about it. I'm not here to ruin you. But I can't stay. She stood too, voice trembling. Can we at least talk to someone? Try counseling? I'll do anything. But I was already shaking my head. You made a different life without me. You chose it. You just forgot to tell me you were leaving. A beat passed. Do you still love me? She asked, almost a whisper. And I didn't answer. Because I didn't know. I packed a bag that afternoon. Just one. Left the rest. She didn't stop me. As I closed the door behind me, I realized something strange. I wasn't angry. Not anymore. I was just done. Done playing the fool. Done guessing. Done giving the best parts of myself to someone who didn't recognize them. She said she didn't mean for it to happen. But love doesn't fall apart in an instant. It unravels slowly, in silence, in stories where your name is missing, in photos where you don't appear, in text messages that end in a block instead of a conversation. It ends in a word. And mine was interesting.